Europe is empowered for the first time in its history with a power which the rest of the world combined cannot match. And Europe uses that power to attack the rest of the world and colonize it. If you think that happened by accident, go and live in Disneyland. The European powers who were victorious, they now called an international monetary conference and invited the rest of the world to attend. It was held in a place in upstate New York called Bretton Woods. And there were Muslim countries present. Saudi Arabia was there. It was held in 1944. And out of the negotiations of Bretton Woods emerged the Bretton Woods Agreement, which created a new international monetary system. Two important things were agreed upon at Bretton Woods. Number one, prepare yourself for it. Not all checks can be cashed. Only one check. Which one? The US dollar. Only this currency can be redeemed for gold at $35 an ounce. But all the rest of the paper money in the world are now checks which cannot be cashed. You could exchange them for the US dollar, check for check, but you cannot cash them. That's the first agreement at Bretton Woods. The second thing that came out of the Bretton Woods Agreement was that not every individual can take his US dollars to have it converted into gold, redeemed. No. Only governments, only central banks can do it, not individuals. So are we not a part of the market? In 1971, September 1971, the British government, island of Tamim-Budari, the British government came in one Friday evening to Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam is the US government, and said, Uncle Sam, we got $3 billion US dollars here. We want to cash these checks. You promised on the Bretton Woods, you promised to do it. $3 billion US dollars. To be redeemed into gold at $35 an ounce. Uncle Sam retired to Camp David, Richard Nixon. And then on Sunday, he addressed the world and he said, we gave our word, but we don't have to keep it. And so the Bretton Woods Agreement collapsed in September 1971. Because he had written more checks than he had money in his account. If I did that, or Sheikh Faiz did that, they would arrest us. But who can arrest Uncle Sam? If he gave the gold to Britain, then Monday morning who is going to be at the front of the line? Saudi Arabia. Because they got a mountain of checks for all the oil they've been selling. And they will say, if the British wanted the gold, we better go and do it quickly. But Uncle Sam didn't have the gold to redeem all that US dollars.
Wide open now. It's going to happen, whether you like it or not.
Do you notice that they have the same amount of ink on them? Do you notice that they're made out of the same virtually worthless stuff? It's paper. Did you get it? It's paper.
When Allah spoke of riba in the Quran, He was speaking about lending money on interest. And we've explained why He had prohibited it. If you allow money to be lent on interest, then the rich will remain permanently rich and keep on growing richer. And the poor will be imprisoned in permanent poverty and grow constantly poorer.
Tells the Treasury Department, the Fed will loan us $1 billion, print $1 billion in U.S. Treasury bonds. So for $1,000, they print $1 billion of bills, of bonds. Those bonds are given to the Federal Reserve, $1 billion. Now the Federal Reserve in bonds plus interest. The Federal Reserve then gives the bonds to the government to pay its bills. But watch me, because you're not thinking. The government needed $1 billion. They borrowed $1 billion. But the Federal Reserve said, we'll loan you the $1 billion plus interest. But it only prints the $1 billion. So the interest payments are never created and put into the system. So how is the government ever going to pay them back?
He called on African and Muslim nations to join together to create this new currency that would rival the dollar and euro. They would sell oil and other resources around the world only for gold dinars.
In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the subject of your enemy. And listen to what He says. Had this not been in the Quran, oh, they would sue me. لَتَجِدَنَّ, time and again you will find, أشد الناس عداوة للذين آمنوا اليهود. Time and again you will find in this market. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds to it in the Quran, and He declares 3 times in the Quran. Listen to the words. وَلَا تَبْخَسُ النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. Do not do this. My 1 month is now reduced to 2 weeks. And make less the value of people's property, people's labor, etc. That is haram. And so this money, which is losing value, is by the definition of the Quran haram. But we were asleep. Let me include myself in it so nobody will be angry with me. We were all asleep. And we didn't recognize we were being taken for a ride.